evening, hockey fans. What? Oh, wait. Sorry. That's the wrong channel. It's not really the wrong channel. I don't have anything. I'm getting feedback again. I hate this. Oh, my God.
Rookie over here.
Yeah, right. I hate YouTube. Get this figured out. Either mute the videos when they start or unmute them when they start. One of the two. I have both feeds up. One feed, it's unmuted. The other feed, it's muted. It drives me nuts. All right. We're going to regroup. And we'll be right back.
That's funny. Nuts.
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
All right. Wait, you have a baby Yoda?
No.
That's tremendous. Wait, no, really? I got to see this now. Come on, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, no clue.
Please continue.
So what's up, guys? We are getting the band back together. Rohan will be here. I hope. So hopefully he's here momentarily. We'll bring him in as soon as we can. Stan, welcome back, my friend. How are you?
I am good, mate. And there is a lot to talk about, I think, this week. I really think there is. But also as well, I just see Tony's joined us. Tony, thank you so much for coming in. I know it's been really difficult for you today. Everyone, if you're having a little glass out there, just raise a little drink. Just raise a little drink to Tony. He lost his nan, unfortunately. She passed away just a little while ago. So just have a little thought there for Tony.
Tony, we're all here for you, man. Just got the news myself. I don't have the words for you, brother. I really don't. I'm awful at these things. All I can tell you, man, is I'm sorry. We're all here for you. And jump in the chat, man. Talk to us. Whatever you got to do. And I guess we'll get it out of the way with right now. Ryan, give me a sec here before I come to you. In lieu of super chats, as we've been doing here, guys, we're asking to make a donation to Tony's GoFundMe so that we can help get him his prosthetic leg. So the description or the link should be in the description down below. So check that out. If you make a donation, just put up a thing that you made the donation, and I'll get your comment up on the screen as quickly as I can. Again, Tony, our condolences here. You're part of the family, man, and we're thinking about you right now. So thanks for being here, brother. Ryan, how are you?
I'm hard to transition from that, but I mean, not good. So I guess I'm not transitioning. We'll get into it, obviously. I said this on the post game show. I had my gloves out. I wanted to fight. I wanted to argue. I wanted to scream at all of you and say you're all wrong. You lose. What was that? What's the thing in Billy Madison? You are wrong. You lose all the points. Thank God have mercy on your soul. I'm sure we'll get into it. I'm sure we may get into it a little bit because I know that we all don't feel the same way about certain things that happened in our game on Sunday. But I knew something was going to happen. So kind of backtracking to Thursday. Actually, it's not my beer of the week, but I have the beer, the Pineapple Guppy. It's good beer. But I was like, oh, gonna watch the Benfica game, put my feet up, Literally at kickoff, I opened it, sprayed everywhere. Got all over I think I was wearing last year's home kit. My gray sweatpants all over the couch. I got Megan screaming at me. I'm trying to watch the game while I'm just getting soaked in pineapple beer. And I was like, well, this is not a good start. And while we were while we were losing, and we had we were gonna be all but out of the Europa League competition until a late winter, I was like, yeah, that's great. It's gonna come back and bite me, and it looks like it came back and bit me, and it how do you say, it burned. It was good because we played Burnley.
I see. Ryan is wide awake tonight, Max.
He always says that. Either I'm awake or I'm sleeping. Yeah, I'm ready to go, baby.
So, Stan, Ryan and I have kind of already had it out about the game.
No, we're not done yet. We're not done.
No, we're not. We're not done by a sight, my friend. Yeah. So, you know what? Take your time, but I want to know what you think. I mean, the title of the show is on consistency or lack thereof. And, before the game, I said on the pregame show, the word of the day is consistency. And there we go. There we have it. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Let's go back to the Leicester game. I seem to remember, various I always listen to a lot of podcasts after games, see what people are chatting about. And I had a lot of people saying things like, we're turning a corner. I think the other one we have wide, must be a massive corner.
Said that.
Do you know what I mean? Turning circle of the Titanic, right? So the other one was, what was the other one? I think I'm beginning to see something. Well, for me, the only thing that I'm seeing, and I think I talked about this a little bit on the last time that we were all convened together a couple of shows back. The only thing, I think the biggest flaw with our Arsenal team, the biggest problem with our squad, for me, it's inconsistency. In a nutshell. And I look back over maybe the last 6, 7 games, 8 games, whatever it is. That's what's jumping out to me. It's inconsistency. We've got players. We know that we've got players that have got a lot of shortfalls in their game. But we've also seen those players that are able to put together sometimes some good performances. So what I'm trying to understand is, why are we unable to get and maintain performances from these players? We've seen what they're capable of. It's not like they've been consistently shit. One of the biggest culprits, and I know he's one of your favourites, Ryan, Xhaka. It seems like a little while now where people have been talking about the improvement of Xhaka. Just of late, is that a really good run of games. But the last 2 games on the trot, I believe, has cost us. And one of the things with the inconsistency is, how do you fix that? Is that a trait and a flaw that a manager can fix, or does inconsistency solely lie and rest with the player? And is the only way that you can get rid of that is by simply upgrading the inconsistent player? So if that's what the problem is, how do you fix inconsistency? Just upgrade, or is it something the manager can do? Because you look at a player like Xhaka, and what's the stat? The stat is he's had 8 individual errors that have led to goals, which is the highest of any individual player since the history books of the Premier League opened.
And you want to know who's second?
Who?
Cedric Suarez.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's third? Maybe we can get him.
I don't know. I think it might be a goalie.
I say David Luiz is third.
No.
We've got like the full complement, the whole podium. But I mean, surely if you're buying if you're buying a player, you would look for a stat like that. But how many of that has happened on our watch? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
all 8 of them have happened on our watch.
They would have had to, because if it's the most in the Premier League, it's only played for us in the Premier League. So they at least for Granit Xhaka, they've all happened on our watch, all of them, all 8. He's been here 4 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the stat was since we signed him, he's made the most errors into a
goal. So I mean, it's yeah. So all right, Ryan, I'm going to come. I will get to you. I promise. But Stan, on the, I don't even know what the hell to call it. I swear to God, I don't know what to call it.
Well, the actual game itself.
Well, no, on the Xhaka Leno on Burnley's goal. Whose fault?
I mean, it's obviously.
By the way, wait, Stan, hold that thought real quick. Can we? You guys have beer, right? You got a beer?
So, yeah. Well, when you go to me, I'm going to announce my beer of the week.
Well,
should we announce it now?
Do it now. Let's have a toast to
I feel bad. I kind of couldn't really relate to anything because this is just like such a bizarre feeling. Not really. I always feel like this way, but I thought it was a really cool logo, and I don't think I'll ever get to use it. So the beer is called "Don't Microwave It, Don't Boil It." I do not know where it's from, but I think it's like really cool. It's like this lady. She's like got like a micro. Is it this way? And then we're gonna go to, and then that's me right there, blindfolded in cowboy boots with my undies and my undershirt. I'm not that hairy. I'm not the hairy though, but it's the coolest. I think it's kind of the coolest look I've ever seen. So yeah, but it's hard to really relate it to the game. I guess that's me watching us and just wallowing in the thing that is Arsenal.
I have a like Pulp Fiction in my head. I don't.
No, yeah. Fair.
So everybody in the chat, and I mean this, I'm dead serious right now. If you have one, raise it. Tony, we're thinking about you, brother. This is for you, man. Cheers, brother. We love you.
Love you,
Tony. And I will just say that.
Ooh.
Dude, I love getting to drink Christmas beer at all times of the year. So anyway, I digress. Stan, whose fault?
Oh, for that, I mean, for me, the blame lies squarely at Xhaka for that. You know,
I mean, some blame has to. I mean, you have to take the 100% blame and shift it and put some percentage on both players, right? I mean, it's not just Leno or Granit Xhaka, right? And it has to be shared, not necessarily equally, but it has to be shared somewhat, right?
Yeah, I get that they've been instructed to play out from the back. I get that they play out from the back, but what I don't get is, and I see it so many times, we will start a move where we will play the ball out from the back, and the move ends in the ball being played back into our goal area, back to the goalkeeper. I've seen the ball get played out from the back and then the ball get worked back from the halfway line back to the goalkeeper. And for me, I just think that when you're doing that, you are putting the goalkeeper, for me, under unnecessary pressure. You know, why do you want to kick the ball back to the feet of a goalkeeper for? That's not primarily their skill set, is their thing, other than kickouts, right? So I've never understood that. But in that particular instance, I don't understand. Jack has played that ball before. That's not the problem here. He's played that ball before. The ball's rolling towards him. All you got to do is continue the momentum to sweep it, right? So I don't understand how that happens. But again, it just goes back to what I said before. It's the repeat offence inconsistency being made by the repeat offenders.
So I'm going to put Sam's comment up here. Leno didn't do anything wrong. He followed instructions. There was more space and time than people think, and Xhaka called for it. No reason to blame Leno.
Exactly. Yep.
I am going to play devil's advocate here because I think, Ryan, I think you're in agreement with Stan on this. It's 100% Granit Xhaka. I will say this. I 100% don't agree with that. I think the blame has to be shared.
I don't agree. I didn't say no.
You don't agree?
I give 1% blame to Leno. And the 1% blame I give to Leno was that Leno should have known Xhaka is a shit player, and he should have been like, fuck this. I don't want to pass this guy. Someone, Luis, where are you? Cedric, I know you're not even on the bench, but someone help me. Anybody. No, not Xhaka. And then he did it. So I guess I blame Leno 100%.
Can I just say,
100%, Sam, you could not be more spot on. Thank you, Sam.
So in the chat box, BX Gunner 81, he's asking the question that we should all be asking. Why was the ball played to Xhaka in the first place?
Before he passed back to Leno? No, the ball didn't come from Xhaka.
Coming back to Leno, I think, is what he's talking about. Yeah, why is that ball going back to the goalkeeper in the first place?
Well, that's instruction. Yeah, that's instruction. That's what they is it me, or do we seem to play ourselves into this pressure? We do this all the time, where we all right. So follow me if this makes sense. I think it'll make sense. The end lines and the touch lines are extra defenders when you think about it. As a defending player, I want to move. Here he is. There we go. Yeah, baby.
What's up?
Now we got a full boat. Now let me get my new. Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking with Crisco. So hi, Rohan.
Hello.
So
I'm good. It's supposed to be like early in the morning, like super early in the morning in India, right? Like a jet lag. So like half an hour ago, I was just sitting on my couch and I passed out, and I just and I was like, I'm late.
You do realise, Rohan, you now have to go over the last, was it 6-7 matches that you've missed?
Yeah, Have you missed?
Got a recap all the way back.
Been able to, like, what's
I've
going
been
on.
watching all the matches because like the matches happen at a good time. So, it's in the evening, right? So like all the disappointment comes at a good time for me. Yeah. And it's only the that's at a difficult time. So yeah. And
How is everything, by the way? You don't need to go into specifics if you don't want to, but
no,
everything's
everything's much better now. So yeah, so the purpose for which I had gone, like my dad's doing better, everything's good. So yeah.
We need to do one of these. Yeah, there it is. And of course, you guys all know who I am. So if we're the four horsemen, there's only one guy I can be. Stan, you get to be the enforcer, though.
Okay, I'll be on Anderson.
Yeah, you're double A. You're the enforcer, but woo! There's only one nature boy, baby. Only one nature boy. Anyway, let's get back into this. So Rohan, just to get you caught up here, we're talking about Xhaka versus Leno. Whose fault was the goal, the Burnley goal? Stan says it's 100% Xhaka. Ryan says it's 99% Xhaka, 1% Leno. I put up a comment from Sam who said it's 100% Xhaka's fault. I am kind of playing devil's advocate here. I think you take 100% of the blame. Some of it has to go, no matter how much. Some of it they have to share it somehow. So I'm curious to get to, since you're here and kind of fresh meat at this point, I'm curious as to your take as to who you think is mostly at fault for this.
But there was, when the ball was passed to Xhaka, there was enough time for him to make a decision. And it's not like he had to play it the first time, right? He took a touch. The touch took it away from him. He raised his head. He saw that, this guy, like the other player was beyond Chris Wood. And he saw it, and then, I don't know if it was because he played it with his weaker foot. I don't know if...
he definitely played it with his weaker foot.
He tried to play it out with his right? Yeah. And
may as well been swinging a brick at it.
And he just, if he tried to play it the first time when he got it, there would have been space. If he just knocked it out, there could have been something. But I'm not really sure what he tried to do. So, for me, that's where the blame lies, right? There was enough time for him to take that touch and to do it. He could have just passed it back to Leno, and Leno could have shot it over his head, something. Don't do that,
So here's how I'm going to play devil's advocate on this, because the one argument that I hear, and it does make sense when you think about it, is Leno can see everything in front of him. Leno can see what Granit Xhaka can't see. Granit Xhaka has his back to the rest of the pitch, to the rest of the field. All right. So Granit Xhaka is facing Bernd Leno. Can't see what's behind him. He can't see the pressure that is behind him. So Bernd Leno, you think, and my thing is, this is what they're told to do. Now, this isn't the Marine Corps. It's not you follow orders or you pack your bags, to quote, I don't even remember who said it in A Few Good Men. It was one of it was in that movie. But the fact is, Bernd Leno could have made a decision on his own to just boot that ball long, because he could see a player to either side and a player bearing down on Granit Xhaka. Now, again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm not saying that Bernd Leno is at fault for this, but could Bernd Leno not have made the decision on his own to just boot that ball long, even if he turns over possession, even if he just boots it down the field and Burnley accept the possession? They accept possession 60 yards away from goal. So is Bernd Leno at all at fault for that? Can he not? Ryan, tell me why.
Because we just said Xhaka had time to get rid of the ball. He had a window to get rid of the ball. And I know we had this argument after the game, the tactics and do we blame Arteta? This is what he wants to play. Burnley are a high pressing team. They press us a lot more than I guess what we expected. But that's kind of the play you make. You want to break pressure. You want to be a release valve. You want to break the lines, break the pressure. And that's the way to do it. You get the ball to Leno, and Leno facilitates. And you break lines, and you make forward. And that's how we were beating them in the beginning stage of the game. They were pressing us. We were breaking lines. William was actually doing a really good job doing that. Can't believe I'm saying that, but he was. And the rest of the team were doing it, and we were doing really well. And I know that it's a real crappy situation, because I know all the Emi Martinez fanboys are going to be out and about and blame Leno, because that's their agenda. Whenever Leno is in any kind of question with anything, it's Leno's fault. And it is what it is. They want to be moronic. Let them be moronic. That's their thing. I can't convince them otherwise. I can't convince them the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. It is what it is. But I think the bigger question just comes down to just, is that a tactic that we want to do? Because we talked about this. I want to say 2 seasons ago, last season, we were terrible at it. It didn't make sense. We were playing really short goal kicks. And everyone was freaking out. We can't do this. Why are we doing this?
Last year. It was last season.
Yeah, last year. I my conscious time is really bad. But yeah, and I think we were struggling. And I think we've came such a long way. And we've done such good, things with that, with building from the back, and clearing the pressure that the other team possesses on us or poses us. But it's just, when you do this, it's almost like a high risk, high reward situation. You're gonna mess up when you have players that have flaws in them. When you have players that just have to make it, and I'm not saying Xhaka did it on purpose. I'm not saying that. I'm really not. But when you have players that have that mistake in them and they just can't help it, you're gonna have these things are going to happen. Had Xhaka made a nifty turn and turned Chris Wood around and pinged it all the way to Aubameyang, we'd be stroking Xhaka off. And to be fair, and I think this is where I got really angry. I guess angry. I don't want to say angry. I kind of are frustrated with the fan base. Is after the game, everyone was giving Xhaka a pass. Oh, well, he's got credits in the bank. He's been our best player. It's okay. And they're just and they want to blame Leno because Xhaka's been so good and he's been fantastic. So it's got to be Leno. Xhaka, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's but it's the same players making the same mistakes. So I guess in a way, then you throw tactics out the window and maybe you do blame Arteta. Well, Xhaka should not be in that spot. He shouldn't be. And to coach 8 Soccer, his body positioning was really bad. I think based on his body positioning, I think he kind of, to himself, he had to make an extra touch, which I didn't think he needed to do. And I think a lot of people didn't. But I think just for his own being, because he was making it with his weak foot. But I think it's a complicated situation because it's a player that's constantly been under the microscope. He's made mistakes for us before, but it's a catch-22 because again, you break it down tactics, you break it down with Why is Xhaka playing if he's making all these mistakes? But he's been our best player, people are saying, for so long. And then, all the Emi Martinez people and all the people who don't like Leno, it's got to be Leno's fault. And people just want to – and also just people just want to excuse Xhaka because he's been under such scrutiny by the fan base. He threw the armband. He threw the shirt.
I don't.
But I know you don't want to talk about it, but, like –
I don't.
When you – I don't. Okay, well, I'm going to, so I don't really care. When are people going to realize that there's just players in our team that just need to go? And when they show us who they are, we need to just believe them. And if this is how we want to proceed,
it just kept going. It usually stops when I do that.
But if people want to do that, then we're always going to be we're always going to be a 10th place club. We're always going to be in Europa if we want to persist with the Granit Xhakas of the world. That's just how it's going to be. And I don't consider myself an entitled fan, but putting him in and week out, we're not going anywhere. We're just not. I don't care how good he's playing. We've never finished higher than 5th place with him. So done.
So this was my argument to Ryan after the game, Stan. He doesn't want to play Granit Xhaka, but he doesn't want to play Danny Ceballos. He doesn't want to play Mohamed El Neni. He doesn't want to play Joe Willock. He doesn't want to play any of the other midfielders. So do we just play 10 men down? And Ryan, I know you're not saying that, by the way. I do understand that. But there's a lot of fans out there that say, like, no, he shouldn't be playing. But then they literally will say, but Danny Ceballos isn't good enough, but Mohamed El Neni isn't good enough. We sent Joe Willock out on loan because he wasn't good enough. So is it really an expectation to play a man short because he's not good enough? Or does the warm body have to do?
Well, no, it comes back to what Stan was saying. We just need to upgrade. Like it's as simple as.
Understood. We need to upgrade, but we can't upgrade right now.
Yeah,
that's the point. So who play if he's not good enough? Who plays? Stan.
I think you pick the best of the bad bunch, but the thing is, he's not picking the best of the bad bunch, in my opinion. If any of our fans, and I respect the opinions of our fans, I might not agree with them. But if our fans think that moving forward, and if Mikel Arteta thinks that moving forward, the best player to partner Thomas Partey in the midfield moving forward after a transfer window is Granit Xhaka, then we're banging trouble. We're banging trouble. And I have to agree with exactly what Ryan was saying. I was flabbergasted at the end of the match to see that basically my takeaway from a large section of our fan base is that mediocrity is okay. And just because the player wears the shirt, you're not allowed to basically critique them when you see that what their failings are. And we should just back them regardless because they're Arsenal players. And if you do kind of, you mentioned, like I was talking to someone on Twitter and I mentioned the stat about that 8 individual errors. And I was then told that because I'm only mentioning that because I have an agenda against Xhaka. And so I'm like, well, why does it have to be that I've got an agenda? Why can't it be that this is my opinion and I'm sharing that opinion with somebody else? If by having an agenda, if that means that the players that I think aren't good enough, I would like them to leave, and I will go on Twitter, which is a place for opinions, and share that opinion without slagging off the player, atting the player and all of that. If that's what an agenda is, then yeah, I have one, because I just don't think that the guy is good enough to take us forward in the same way that people said that Oliver Giroud wasn't good enough to take us to that next level. We had to improve on him, is exactly how I feel about Granit Xhaka. And if we are looking at playing the best of a bad bunch, then for me, the best of the bad bunch for me at the moment is hands down El Neni. El Neni hasn't caused that amount of errors. I know that he's been on loan a lot, but I mean, how many individual errors has he caused that's cost us games? And if he's only going to be able to give us a 6.5 to a 7, maybe 8s consistently, I'll take that. Thank you very much. Over someone that's going to be a jack in the box and might give me a 7 one week and then the following game give me like a 3.
Yeah, Rowan. I mean, when Thomas Partey got here, he was actually getting a run of games. The Manchester United game, despite our ineptitude in terms of being able to finish, those two really bossed the midfield against Manchester United back in early November, I think it was. Partey and El Neni. I totally agree with Stan. And I think, Ryan, is that why you were like that for the El Neni thing? Or was it a comment? Make it quick because I do want to come back to Rowan.
So I don't necessarily think El Neni is the best out of the bed bunch, but if I had to pick one player in our entire Arsenal squad to play where Granit Xhaka was for that pass, it would be El Neni. Hey, we don't call Mohamed El Sideways for nothing. He would have perfectly. So, that's the thing. He's good at releasing. He's a release valve. He's good at pinging balls, facilitating. So I mean, we just need an upgrade. But if you ask me, honestly, one more thing. I honestly, and people are gonna slate me for it, but why don't we try it? Chambers. He was player. He was player. Granted, Fulham got relegated. I get that. He was player of the season for them. Why not try it? We have mistaken riddled midfielders. Sorry, Ryan. We have mistaken riddled midfielders. Just try it. Who cares? Just try it. Simple.
So, I mean, El Neni and Partey, at least at the very beginning, seemed to be a good midfield pivot, did they not?
They did, but since then, like a couple of matches down, the way El Neni plays and how safe he is and how he wants to play back all the time, So see, like since Granit Xhaka had cost us the game, maybe 5, 6, 7 games ago. Since then, I think he had been quite all right, and that this is the first.
Do you not have any blame for him for Leicester at all?
No, so he is to blame, but he is to blame in this game. If we're talking about this game, and I'm not trying to say that Granit Xhaka is good enough, but I would think that amongst the bunch that we have, the bunch of midfielders that we suggest that we named, I think he is the guy who would play that forward pass, who plays that adventurous pass, who tries to make something happen. He is slow and he is one-dimensional, and he will cost us points, and he is the guy who's caused the most number of errors leading to goals. All of that is, all of these things are facts, and that's why he needs to go. But the team that's there right now, he brings something that no other midfielder does. That's how it is. And the way I looked at that game, we didn't lose that game or it felt like a loss. I mean, it was a draw. We didn't draw that game because Granit Xhaka made a mistake.
Yeah.
It's because we just couldn't finish our dinner, right? Like, how many chances did we have? How did we not win that game? We could have won that game 3-1, and everybody would have been like, Xhaka being Xhaka, and that it wouldn't have been such a big deal. So why are we not talking about Pepe and Pepe costing us that game? Why are we not talking about, our attack in general, and the chances that we had, the chances that Saka had, that Ceballos had, that all of these guys had, right? You've just got to score. You're playing a Premier League match. You gotta expect the other team to score as well. They do get dodgy goals here and there. We gifted them one, but they could have got one from a corner later or something like that. We've got to capitalize, and that's the reason why we drew that game, right?
Oh, there are many reasons why we drew that game. I dare say that the Xhaka Leno bungle is not in the top 3 reasons why we drew that game.
I'm curious what your third is.
All right, so it's top 3.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
I'm sitting there. I'm like,
and I
wait.
But I think what I'm kind of I mean, we are talking about it, but my whole thing that I'm kind of preaching is like, people think, oh, we're better than 10th, we're better than this. Well, to me, whether you're 10 in or out, I think it's irrelevant just because of this. I mean, maybe it's not relevant because of the situation, but we have these players that just have the mistakes in them, and I don't think any manager is just going to be able to coach it out of him, especially not a Granit Xhaka, someone who's, how old is he? I don't know. Is he 30 yet? I don't know. But he's not young. He's not a young guy.
He's 28, 29.
But he's not. Yeah, he's not a guy
very
that we're gonna
young.
have for five or more years. So it just comes down to we need to upgrade. It's the players. We need to focus on these players, and if they can't do a job, if they had constantly have a mistake in them, they need to go. And it's so funny because we talk about David Luiz, and I know that's Stan's favorite player. But there was a stat I read, and I'm going to butcher it, but because I don't really like to read positive David Luiz stats. But he's gone, I think, over 2,000 minutes without being dribbled past, which is by far, like, no one's even remotely close to him in that stat. I know it's a very odd stat, but I think it's like 2,071 or something. But it's crazy stat. So it's like you want to use stats to kind of prove your point, to prove like, okay, we need to upgrade for this, we need to upgrade for that. But then you look at that Luis, and to me, he's someone we need to upgrade on for sure. But then when you look at stats like that, sometimes stats can lie in a weird sort of way. But I think we talk about the situation, and I think it's a bigger deal because I think the situation reflects our team as a whole, not for our team from this game. Because, again, it just shows Granit Xhaka has made this mistake time in and time out. We're going to keep persisting with them, and we expect to make Champions League? You're crazy, right? Like, no, it's not going to happen. And, again, like you said, we could have won 8-1, and that could have been the one goal they score. I think it's still important to talk about because it's mistakes like that will lose that will eventually.
Ryan, I what you're saying right now, I want to come back to it.
Okay,
because it's a great point. I want to come back to it. But Stan, I know you want to go ahead and jump in. So
I'm just saying. I mean, if you're a player on that Arsenal team and you've been playing with Xhaka, for some years, and you see something like that happen, I mean, just the conversation that we're having here about Xhaka and his inconsistencies and what people are saying in the chat box. If you're on the field with him and you've been playing with him for a few seasons, and you know what he's capable of, when you see that happen, is there not a player on the pitch that they might not say outwardly that's thinking to themselves, oh, for fuck's sake, again? Are you having a fucking laugh? Now we've got like 80 odd minutes now to try and repair this shit. And then you're in a bit of a, your headspace, you're a bit fucked off by it all. Is there nothing like that going on with the team where they keep thinking these usual suspects yet again? I mean, they're only human, right? I can't believe that they all give him, they give if you've got a player that's constantly inconsistent, I can't believe that everyone just gives them a pass. If we're having this conversation, we're discussing it, I'm sure other players on the team must be thinking about it, and maybe in smaller groups, having a conversation like just what the comment you just said. Fucking hell, Joe. Do you think we'll ever get into the Champions League with that lump constantly undoing the good work that we're trying to do? These conversations must happen. Well, whether it's around a water cooler or driving home in a Ferrari.
I think, Stan, the mentality, and Rowan, jump in right after me on this, but the mentality, you could see it when they came out for the second half. There was zero energy. Zero energy. My 2-year-old beagle downstairs had more energy in her front right paw than Arsenal had to come out in the second half against Burnley. And I think it's down to exactly that play. Am I wrong, Rowan?
Yeah, no. I think they just lack confidence for some reason, but that doesn't mean that they didn't create. And there were times earlier in the season where we would have gone down like 2-3 after that, but we didn't, and we created a lot of chances. So I just couldn't explain why. There are days when the ball just doesn't want to go back into the back of the net. That's the way it is. That's the way I saw it. I was expecting it, even in extra time. I was expecting it to go in. Extra time was like crazy in that game. So but yeah, definitely, like, this guy's not good enough, and we said that that's such an important position. If he's supposed to sit in front of our our center backs. Our center backs can't always think that the ball's going to come to us or there's going to be a mistake and that we're going to concede and it's going to be like, oh shit, like here we go again. Like you can't have that, and that's where it's done, right? But that being said, there's just so many with the attackers, right? Like I feel like they're getting away with not being discussed today just because there was a mistake in there. And even if that mistake wasn't in there, we should have discussed, how wasteful we were. And this wastefulness almost cost us the tie, our European tie, didn't it? In the first leg, we were wasteful like this. There was no Xhaka mistake there. I don't remember that, at least. Like, I mean, it was Aubameyang missing chance after chance, and that could have cost us the tie. It almost did. We were like 90 seconds from going out in the round of 32 for a second year running. So that probably is a problem that we need to talk about.
And to be fair, it almost cost the tie against Burnley. And let's see, who saved us? Oh, that's right, Leno did. Oh yeah, he made 2 or 3 fantastic saves that kept us, gave us the point. So all these Xhaka.
It would have been Leno's fault. Like I was going to get into that in the first time when we were discussing. It may have been Leno's fault if it was so tight that Xhaka couldn't take the first turn. Or, Xhaka didn't get a shout out and he tried to turn right away and then he got the ball nicked off of him. He knew there was a guy behind him. That's why he took that first touch. He had time enough to lift his head and to see that David Luiz was on the other side. And still he sort of went ahead and did that. That's just... I mean, is it lack of concentration or just he has no control on his on his right foot, or I don't know what that's about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I read this stat real quick for Stan, because I want to also clarify, and it's probably it could sprawl into another conversation later, not now. So David Luiz is the outfielder with the most minutes played across the top 5 European leagues this season without being dribbled past once. Luiz is at 1,076 minutes so far with that record still intact. You want to know who's number 2? At 990 minutes?
Granit Xhaka.
No. William Saliba.
Do you know why David Luiz has never been dribbled past? Because every time attackers run towards him, he just
grabs hold of him and tackles him.
You're not getting past me.
Runs back, and then they take a shot and it's a goal. He doesn't attack the ball.
No, I'm not. Again, it's just it's like I know it's a stat.
But it's a good stat. There's a good way of looking at it.
To be fair, and I think I looped
the other stat about having the most penalties or whatever it is in the start of the season or whatever that is. That's another stat. David Luiz.
But I think too. I guess what I keep saying is I would hope people agree is, and Gary mentioned it so eloquently in the chat. I think Luiz and Xhaka are 2 players that just they don't need the bulk of the minutes. They're guys you start when you should just hammer teams 4-0 and they make a mistake. Cool. To be fair, we probably should have beat Burnley 4-0 too. But you play those guys when break glass in case of emergency. They're guys you play against the Dundalks, against the Molds, where you know what, you can make a mistake. It's okay. We got it under control. But again, I think I'm kind of nixing my own point here. We should have did that to Burnley. We should have beat them 4-5-0. So I think you kind of look at, and going right to Rohan's point, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, or we are talking about it. We got to finish our stuff. We got to finish. We got to put deodorant on both armpits, not just one. So I think and that's been a problem for us. Finishing our dinner. We need to fix that. And I'm so sorry. I don't remember who said this in the chat, but our attack is very predictable. Yes. And I think a reason why our attack is so predictable is because we have a 0 presence in the middle of the field, which is why Arteta's tactics are to just horseshoe it, play Tierney, play Saka.
Let me jump in here real quick on the predictability thing, because if you go back and you watch the build-up to the Burnley goal, And you can just see the Burnley players are setting up. Honest to God, it's Chris Wood, and I don't know who was behind Xhaka, and I don't know who would have been to his right, so to Leno's left. But they're just getting ready to pounce. They're literally just getting ready to pounce on Granit Xhaka because not only are we predictable in attack, but we're predictable trying to play when in possession, but all the way back there, we're unbelievably predictable back there as well. They knew Granit Xhaka was going to get that ball, and they were on him like flies on shit. Before, I mean, now he should have just one-touched that ball somewhere rather than doing what he did. But they were going to be on him because they knew that ball was going to him. And Samuel Reed brought up a point. Basically, he said, "Why are we not blaming Arteta for playing basically the same shitbag players who aren't good enough?" Well, look, at the end of the day, we say this about every player on this team. They're not good enough. You got to play somebody. If it was El Neni, we say the same thing. If it's Ceballos, you say the same thing. Why is he playing these players that aren't good enough?
Yeah, if we sign Basuma and we sign all these players, we still play Xhaka, that's a problem.
You can't talk about that.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Oh,
I'm agreeing with you, mother.
You can say it. It's all right.
No, if we have these if we get all these signs, we do all these good things that we're supposed to do. Be as Josh Kroenke. What does Josh Kroenke say? Like, stay tuned, get ready, get excited. Okay. And then he's playing Xhaka because Xhaka comes to practice early and he leaves late. He's the first one to practice, he's the last one to leave. And then when the international break comes, he comes back a day early and pom-poms and all that. No, get out of here. You can't play favorites here.
Actually, Glenn, you can polish a turd. It's still a turd, though. Yeah. It's still a turd.
I think it's his point, Dan.
Yeah.
You got to freeze it first. That's the first step. Otherwise, you get messy.
Anybody else with anything to say on this before we move on? Because it's a dead horse at this point. Nothing. It is what it is.
I think we caned it with Xhaka now, haven't we?
What's that?
I think we kind of caned it now with Xhaka.
Yeah.
I think the consensus is that.
Is it crazy though? Is it crazy though not to play Chambers there, like to try it out? Like I don't see what the harm is. Like El Nene, I get it. I get his deficiencies. I get what he does wrong. I think if we're firing at all cylinders, I think El Nene is probably great. Or El Nene is also good for. Granted, we're Arsenal and we want to be in the Champions. We want to do these things. He's not for that. He's the guy that you put in the lineup that you want to nick as a 1-0 win, a smash and grab, so to speak. He's, I'm going to ring my Gooners podcast bell for Mike. But yeah, he's the kind of guy you want to just play defensive, facilitate, be that release valve, and then we nick one. Okay, cool, good, keep going. He's not the guy that you're going to get Champions League with. He's the guy where you nick 1-0 against Man U. Or like a Southampton, or like a mid-table-ish team. So it's just, we just gotta, oh God, yeah. That's the thing too. I think Bellerin and Xhaka are probably going to start on Thursday. Sam Reed, I hate to say it, but I mean, I no comment. I'll say that.
Rowan, I know you need to dip out of here in a little bit, so I guess for now, just. Since it's been a while since we've had you on, just kind of give us your thoughts on where we are as a club and what you're expecting or what you expect and what you hope for going forward. I assume are two different things, but what have you seen over the past month from us?
It's what you it's what you pointed out when you put the show, notice of the show out, right? Like the inconsistency. I just don't know what I'm gonna get with Arsenal, right? Like the only thing that I know is, you never know what you're. There's no semblance of consistency with this club. We were really, really bad in November, December. That was the only constant with this season. Since then, I thought that we turned around the corner and then we started winning matches. Since then, it's not that we have been really bad. This game hasn't been really bad. It's not been the mid-December sort of a performance where it's been abject and we think like, where is the goal coming from, and we look like we're conceding like 5 in a match or something like that. But still, I thought that we would have a launch pad now to do better. We're losing to teams that we shouldn't. Like, we've given away in the 2 games against Burnley, we've got 4 points. No, we've got 1 point. 1 point. Burnley's got 4 points against us. If you give 4 points to Burnley, you're not going to get anything. I'm not even saying that you need to, that you have to, be up there and win all of the matches against the big 6. That I'm not expecting that. We had a good performance. We have a good performance against Leicester, and then we have a performance like this. We have a good performance against somebody else, and then we have our performance against Villa, or things like that. You just can't have things like that, and it's the inconsistency that really gets to me. Again, this season, it seems like we're going to finish 9th or 10th. We're going to finish like probably in the early 50s. Arteta's had his first full season, and I don't even know with the performances, like especially the last one against Burnley, I don't even think that you can completely blame Arteta. He's put out the squad. He's tried his best. The team has created the chances. If they can't finish it, or if there are individual errors, moronic errors like we did in this previous game, you can't blame the manager. So I'm just not sure where we are and where we go. A major, at least one good thing is that I know, and we all can see, that a major shakeup has started. In January, there were a lot of departures. I was not expecting Ozil to leave, but he's gone. Kolasinac is gone. Mustafi's gone. Stan's happy. And in the summer again, hopefully Xhaka will go, because Xhaka clearly has something that none of us or any other fan can see, right? Because every manager who comes loves him. Every manager loves him. There must be a reason for that. And I'm not really sure why.
He's the first one to practice, the last one to leave. That's why.
Yeah, he's the first one to, or as soon as the new manager comes, he tells them that when he was a kid, his parents used to give him the keys and not his elder brother. And that seems to impress them so much that they're like, yeah,
that's good.
That's
That's tremendous.
That's good.
For a dude that's as jet lagged as you, Rohan, that you pulled that one out real good. That was tremendous.
And I just don't know. So unless we change players like these, unless Pepe finds some consistency, and I don't think he is going to, like, cut our losses and just move ahead. Things like that. Odegaard has been good. Danny Ceballos, I'm not really sure. How many seasons is he going to be on loan here for? It's done now, and I don't think we should be spending 25 million and buying him. So unless there is a major shake-up, and Arteta's really given the tools, and not just for namesake, we're still there, inconsistent, consistently mediocre. Not even in the Europa League.
And it's the absolute worst thing to be is mediocre. The worst thing to be is mediocre, because especially in an environment like just like football in general, with relegation. Because Ryan and I have talked about this with American sports. The worst thing to be is mediocre, because we have a draft system. So if you're the worst team in the league, you get the highest draft pick, which means you have the pick of the best of the amateur crop, which should help you build for seasons to come. The worst thing to be is mediocre. If you're the best team, you draft at the end of the round, but that's good because it means you were one of the best teams. The worst thing to be is mediocre because you're drafting right in the middle. You never really get any better. You never really get any worse. In football, being mediocre is awful because without the fear of relegation, your ownership, your board will see no reason to make things better. And if so, it's the worst thing. I can't say it enough. It's just the worst thing. I'm kind of stuttering over my words here, but it's the worst thing in the world to be as mediocre.
And maybe I'm crazy too, but people
thank
talk
you for
about
bailing
this.
me out, by the way.
Okay.
Because I was like,
but, and Rohan, you're right, and I think we've all said this. We're just very, and I mean, it's the title of the podcast. We're very inconsistent and all that. But people, maybe don't want to admit it to themselves. Maybe more the Arteta out people. This is who we've been. We've been inconsistent with Wenger. We were inconsistent with Emery. We're inconsistent with Arteta. It's how he is.
Now to think about it, when do
you start pointing the finger at someone else?
When we used to finish 4th or 3rd.
Exactly, and maybe I'm crazy, but to me, I genuinely think all the teams are just getting better. You have a team like Brighton, give them a good striker. I still love you, that guy. Maybe not Welbeck, but you give Brighton striker. I think they're a team to be reckoned with. Villa have Grealish. Fulham can play. Granted, it's maybe only 15 minutes out of 90 minutes of football, but when they play 15 minutes of football, they look like the best team in the league. That
Brighton comment, by the way, is there's a lot of people that think they're like literally they're one striker away from being a real good team. And that actually has more to do with Graham Potter than it does the player.
No, I know
that dude.
But I think just my point is that West Ham, they're a solid squad. Leicester, they're always around. I just think teams are getting better, and just the gap is just closing. Like the Big Six may not be the Big Six anymore. I know people are joking around like we're 6th or we're 7th. We're getting kicked out of the Big Six, but I just think that teams are just better, and I think if we're gonna keep being this inconsistent and doing all these things, then we're gonna get thrown by the wayside. And again, I'm gonna butcher stats online because that's just what I'm gonna do. I think Burnley are the only team we have not beaten in the bottom 8 or 7. I forget how far down we go, but they're the only team we haven't beaten. And I don't know what it is with Burnley. We just have a problem with them. I don't know what it is. So hopefully we can shake those like that out. So I'm still worried. It's not great. We're inconsistent. I get that. But also, too, like, I feel like had we played, like, another team around their position, had it not been Burnley, I think things would have gone differently. I don't know what it is with us and Burnley. We just tend to not play well.
How are we supposed to beat Burnley when their manager is literally Thanos the Mad Titan? I mean, they were asking him about VAR after the game, and he's like, sorry, I've got to have my voice for this. He's like, well, I like VAR, don't I? VAR's, I'm not saying that VAR didn't do its job today because I think VAR is I think it did its job today. So, I'm quite happy actually how things turned out. I mean, that's what
was that Thanos? Did I just think that?
I'll be working on that. Or
was it Sean Dice? I couldn't tell.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Sean Dice likes eating worms. I don't know if that's a fun fact.
Yeah, I mean, worms, they're wriggly. So, you get them in your mouth and they kind of wriggle around a little bit. But once you swallow them down, there's really nothing to it, really.
Fantastic.
Just a thermometer.
You know what? That's the show for tonight, folks. We're done. I don't know how we keep going after that. Tony wants you to spend the rest of the show doing voices.
That's another podcast.
Again, that's a whole other show. Anyway, Rohan, do you? I'm not trying to kick you out of here.
Yeah, I think this might be a logical point for me to duck out. I'm so excited to be here to see all of the familiar names in the chat box and my mates here. And I thought that I'm gonna hang out and even after the show catch up like I do with my friends here. But I'm just like terribly jet lagged, so I need to bail out from here. And I'm sure that these fine gentlemen are going to do a great job, and I'm going to catch you guys next week.
Wait a minute. Are there 3 other guys coming in and replacing us? I don't know what fine gentlemen I don't know what guys you're talking about doing a fine job without.
Fine gentlemen.
So, Rohan, good to see you again, man. Glad to have you back.
Take care, guys. Smash the like.
Later. Yeah. So, where do we go from here, fellas?
Penalty shout, probably, right? The penalty. That's
VAR, take it away.
I just want to say that the broadcast I watched here in Vancouver of the game on DAZN, apparently I've been told it's not DAZN. I've been saying it wrong. It's DAZN. So I'm not hip.
Oh my God! By the way, real quick, there's a sideline reporter that works for DAZN. Oh my God, she's scorching.
Come on, really?
Oh God, I'm sorry, I had to say it. Scorching.
When I started thinking about that, the way that they showed it here, from what the footage I saw, the ball kind of hit the shoulder. But then I saw a picture later on, and I was thinking, is that from the same game when they didn't show it all in the zone? That's a picture I saw. Like he was holding the ball like a basketball player when they hold the ball in their hand.
Two separate instances.
And okay, I was thinking somebody shot that. So the penalty shout, I just wondered what your guys' thoughts were on that, because everyone is saying online it's a clear penalty. But if I'm going by the incident that I saw, it kind of looked to me from the angle that they showed it was a shoulder. And I was thinking, is that, obviously I want a penalty for Arsenal, right? But I was thinking, is that a penalty? So what do you guys think?
Two separate instances. Number
right.
one.
Okay, I missed one then.
Yeah. So
you missed one.
You missed one. Oh, you did.
That you missed is literally
that picture of the hand.
Who was it, Ryan? Yeah.
It was funny enough. It was Eric Peters.
Eric Peters.
He had to be brought on because Taylor pulled his hammy. I think it was Taylor or Lowton. I think it was Taylor.
Yeah. He literally had his left hand out, and the ball hit him in such a manner in his hand that it looked like he was dribbling the ball like a basketball. There was an instance later where Pepe had a shot, I think actually deflected before it hit Peters in the shoulder, but he turned and it hit his shoulder and then hit the crossbar.
I missed that hand one. I don't know what I must have gone to. I must have gone for a dump or something. I don't know.
They're two separate instances.
What time did that happen? Where did that happen? Because I must have missed that.
It was second half, and I mean, I don't know, Ryan, 60, 65 minutes, somewhere in there. It was.
I don't know.
I'd roughly midway through the second half, and VAR just completely. Like at this point, what's handball? What's handball? Because his body is in an unnatural position. His arm and hand are extended away from his body. The ball hits his hand in a. How do I? What I don't want to. It's not a clear goal scoring opportunity. It's in the box. I mean, he hands the ball in the penalty area. So that
I missed that. I must have nodded off it because it was early in the morning. I must have zoned out because
I don't.
The picture afterwards when I saw that one with the hand on the ball, I was like, "Is somebody like messing around with a Photoshop?" Because if that wasn't called for a handball, then what have I missed? 73 minutes, Ray says.
So on 73 minutes, it's Pepe actually called for a handball before that, and that one's a little more iffy.
Yeah, the shoulder one I saw.
But no. This is again two completely set. So right before this instance where his hand is out and it looks like he's dribbling, Pepe hit the ball into Peters, and I didn't get a real good look at the replay there. This is literally split seconds where Pepe started calling for a handball right away, and then the handball happened again. Literally within a matter of 1 second, it happened again, and then further down the road is when the ball hit Peters in the shoulder.
Right.
So yeah, two separate instances.
I just put a link to the video in our chat. I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you could show it or Stan just watch it. But
I mean, if you guys want to talk for a minute, I'll go off camera and see if I can find a highlight of it, and I'll share the screen. Go ahead.
So I maybe chat can help me out. So before the actual handball happened, I originally thought Pepe was complaining about Lacazette being fouled in the box, which they didn't even show that. They didn't even give us any kind of a video of that. But then I heard people saying it was another handball, and Pepe was calling for that. So that I'm not sure. But yeah, it was pretty blatant. I mean, it's tough because, people have been saying like, oh, VAR, the refs, they're out, the FA, they're out to get us. And you don't want to believe it because, what do they have to gain? Like, come on, this is nonsense. But Stan, when you see this, you're going to be like, all right, like they checked this and they didn't think it was a handball. Like And I actually tweeted it out, and I was like, I don't know what I guess I don't know what a handball is. And going to also to it was Fulham against Scum. They called the guy's hand was at his side, and they called that a handball. So I don't know. I don't know like what to think anymore, and I don't really know where you go because VAR is obviously not working in the right way, not in the right capacity.
I think we come to a stage, Ryan, where I think referees need to be mic'd up. And people are going, oh, swearing. If everybody knows that they're mic'd up, then they will curb the swearing, especially if there's going to be, fines implemented and stuff like that. So I don't think that's an issue. And I also think that after a game, the managers and the captain or whatever, or a player will get put straight in front of a camera when emotions are there. And they've got to talk about everything. And I also think that they should put the mic and the cameras after a game straight in front of the ref's face. And if there has been some form of a controversial call, that they should be able to discuss it and be asked about it. And I think if a referee knows that they're going to have the cameras on them, and as we say, some of these referees don't want the limelight. Yeah, well, let's fucking give it to them, as I said a few weeks ago. Let's put them straight under that spotlight. And maybe if they know that they are accountable, and they're not just going to be ushered off the pitch at the end of every match and not reappear again until the next match that they officiate, it may help them somehow maybe raise their level if there is some form of accountability where they're mic'd up and we can hear what they're explaining to the guy on the heads and in the earpiece and also to the players, but also when they're asked, not by another player of the opposing team or the manager, but by the pundit, the interviewer, why did you give that as not a handball? What was the thinking there? Now that you've seen it again, what are your thoughts? Is that such a bad thing?
And it's funny. There's a video floating around. I think it's kind of old, but I saw it recently because I've seen it a few times. I think it's in the Australian Premier League, or I don't know what they call it, but it was the ref's last game, so they had him mic'd up, and they showed highlights. They showed him talking to the refs. Oh, what was wrong? And I thought it was fantastic. I really want these refs mic'd up. I really want to hear. It wasn't like bad, they were just talking about, oh, you saw this? Oh, we saw this. He's talking to his linesman. He actually had to wave off a penalty or he actually had to go to VAR. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. Oh yeah, that's the best you got.
Best I mean, it's the quickest. It's the quickest one I can find.
I hope we zoom in. Oh, here we go. Snap.
Right there. I mean, it doesn't quite hit him in
That's
the
Michael
hand.
Jordan right there. That's Michael Jordan. He's trying to dribble it. He would have tried to slam dunk it if he'd run away with it. What's going on there? Yeah, what? Even if you go in at
Dikembe Mutombo, just no, not here.
Even if you go in at the end of the season with a list of the times that VAR has been bad to us and all of this stuff and that, it's not going to reverse anything, right? You know what I'm saying? It might make them think again for the next season or what have you, but it doesn't help our current cause right now. Do you know what I mean? If you're a team that's facing relegation and it came down to a point and it's because you didn't get a penalty that you might have tucked away, writing a report at the end of the season doesn't get you promoted back up. They don't go, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we shouldn't. You know what I'm getting at? So there needs to be accountability on the day with the referees. They need to be asked the hard questions. And if it means they're going to get a red face because they look like some idiots, then I'm all for it. If it means that it's going to raise the level of officiating. And if they are shit, I think it was Gary in the chat box, and we were chatting about something. I think I saw him on a podcast saying that in America, these American sports that you lot talk about, I have no understanding of any of it, but he made a very good point that I can't remember what sport it is, that straight afterwards, they look at the referees and there's a grading system in place. And they're asked about certain things and there's a grading system. And if you don't meet a certain level, a certain grade or a target, then you might not be officiating in those top games for quite a while. You might have to go down into lower leagues and,
Well, they do it. I mean, they really, in the 4 major North American leagues, the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, and the NBA, they do have a rating system for the officials because we have playoffs. Here, those 4 leagues have playoffs. So your crew is now, and here's the other thing too. And I don't know this not for nothing, but just to point it out. In the NFL, this isn't just, they don't just handpick officials because there are what, 7, 8 officials during an NFL game, something like that. But it's a crew, and it's the same. So that crew works every game together. Right. So it's not this. So it's not like what we're talking about, where the on-field official, the 2 linesmen, and the VAR official, they're different every week. They don't work with the same group of people every week. Whereas in the NFL, in the NBA, in the NHL, these guys work together. These people, because we do have female officials in both the NBA and the NFL at this point, but they work together. So there's a level of consistency. Back to the title of the show, with familiarity with the officials working together. But there is a grading system. So when the playoffs come around, your crew is looked at and basically said, okay, did you make the grade to work in the playoffs? And what they do, and then you get into the playoffs, and now that grading system starts all over again to see who's going to be the crew or the set of officials to work whatever the championship is, be it the Super Bowl, be it the World Series, the Stanley Cup final, whatever the case may be. So there's incentive there because of the playoffs. There has to be a way to figure this out within the Premier League to say, okay, we're going to grade you, and if you miss a blatant call like this, you're going to the championship or you're going to League One, and your pay would be commensurate with that. Players in the championship don't make what players in the Premier League make, and League One versus the championship, and League Two versus League One. So as an official, your incentive should be financial, because if you screw up, you're going down and you're not going to make as much money.
Yeah.
And if you're a League Two official, I mean, for crying out loud, a League Two player probably has to work another job just to pay his bills, I would think. If you're that bad and you get sent down to League Two, you better go start tending a pub somewhere or tending a bar somewhere, So there's you want accountability. Give them some incentive to be better. And I said this on the Gooners pod yesterday with Mike. We're at a point with the officiating in VAR at this point where we're legitimately asking questions. Are they fixing games? That's where I'm at with it. Are they legitimately fixing games? You don't believe that, Ryan?
No.
Is that what that was for? Or
no, it wasn't.
What was that for?
Nothing. I was reading
something.
Nothing.
Oh, by the way, my comments aren't loading. So if you see comments,
no, it wasn't that.
The reason I haven't put up any comments lately is because my comments are stopped at. I know that at Sam Greenwood from Football with Brownie. This is the last comment that I have on my screen.
I know.
I can't load anything else. Nothing.
Oh, you're missing great stuff.
I can't. It won't let me do anything. You know what? Dude, I'm going to back out and come back in. I'm going to keep you guys take over for like 15 seconds. I'll be right back in. I want to see if this works. So I don't know. Talk about beer. Talk about.
Or what? Wait, what'd you just say? Because honestly, I wasn't listening.
I said we're at a point right now where we're asking the question: are Premier League officials financially benefiting from the bad calls that they're making? Are they intentionally fixing games?
There's a reason why we have like World Cups and shit, and I don't want any English refs there. They don't want them in there, right? I don't want them spoiling the biggest calendar occasion in football. So that's got to be a wake-up call to whoever in the FA's in charge of the officiating part to think, well, we need to fix up. They don't even want us at the event. So what does that mean? That's got to be a wake-up call, surely.
Yeah, Tim, it's crazy. To me, I'm actually kind of on the other side of the fence. I kind of just dislike VAR. I think VAR is the big issue here. I think that it's the little boys club no ref wants to overturn another ref's call because they could be the ref and they could be roles could be switched. It's like, oh well, you fucked me in that game, you look like an idiot. Well, guess what? I'm gonna make you like an idiot. Yeah. And I've always said this. That's why I don't like how VAR is just other refs.
But they do though. But they do. That's the thing. Like they did it on Sunday.
What?
They overturn other calls. Like they overturn. Okay,
they do, but it's very hard.
The Peters.
I mean, that was pretty obvious to me.
It was, but so was the handball. See, so even there, no consistency.
Yeah.
No.
Again, I think it's just I think it's a mix of things. I think it's that, and I think it's just no consistency. I'm not going to completely nail my I don't know, but I do. I think it's a mix of things. And I do think at the end of the day, if they don't have to make a crazy call, they're not going to do it. They're not going to like you see with the offsides call. It's like millimeters. Someone's wrist was offsides up. Yeah, doesn't work.
We're talking like a pubic hair that's sticking out the bottom of someone's short.
Yeah. Max from the Arse Bros said yesterday someone's foreskin is offside, and I said, you know what? That would have been a real funny joke if it weren't fucking true.
I remember that because I was listening and I put in a chat box.
Yeah, you were there.
We should only buy circumcised players to avoid that.
That's right. Yeah, only buy circumcised players to avoid it. Everybody has to get their fingernails trimmed, their eyebrows trimmed, everything has to be trimmed nice and tidy. God forbid something go offside by a pubic hair.
So I think we all agree, right? It's not that VAR is the problem because the genie's out of the bottle. We can't put it back and forget about it. It's the way it's being used and who's using it. So the answer needs to be independent people employed and paid by the FA who are trained. Maybe, they're taken on a training course somewhere, for a month or 2 weeks and learn everything about that side of the game. And then they're there. They're paid. They're not ex-referees. They're not going to be refereeing a game the following week. They are totally independent. I mean, VAR seems to work well in other countries. We don't seem to hear this, big hoo-ha from other leagues about how VAR is ruining the game. And in that game, in that podcast that you was talking about just the other day with the Arse Brothers, Max said something else, which is he was talking about a game that he watched. I can't remember what the game was. And when the goal was scored, I think he was talking about the Leicester game, right? Danny Welbeck, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping up, grabbing whoever was next to him, punching the air and totally losing his shit. Now, a goal gets scored, and even it could be a really important thing. He's like, hold on a minute. What's happening? It's going over to VAR. All of that, the original, that's gone. You're on a knife edge. Yep. You see the players are celebrating, but all of us watching at home, we're not jumping up and punching the air. You're on that. Hold on. Is it
right?
Are they gonna wipe it off with the? And by the time it all gets done, the cheering, that enthusiasm's gone. You're like, okay, it's a goal.
So
your chair again, and the game continues.
So Ryan, I don't know if you ever heard this because you played as a kid. I didn't. So
don't date me. I still play.
Okay, you still play. Fair enough. Yeah, but the one thing I always heard when I was a kid about soccer, and the reason that it never caught on in America was because there wasn't enough scoring. We didn't see enough scoring. We didn't see enough offense. This is one of the reasons why ice hockey is of the four major sports we have here: American football, baseball, basketball, ice hockey. Ice hockey is lowest on that list because there's not enough scoring. We want to see more scoring, and this is VAR, the FA, and I'm sorry, I just caught this. That's good. Well done, Mike. Well done. But VAR, the FA, the Premier League are active. It's almost like they are actively trying to reduce scoring. And that's the one knock, at least in this country, that the sport has is not enough scoring. So if you want to grow the game in a country where it is up for grabs right now in terms of marketing and things like that, don't you want to be actively try to promote scoring rather than trying to take it away? I mean, like Stan said, I mean, we're on a knife edge with this stuff. You're on the edge of your seat, but then as soon as we score, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, okay, like literally, we're on the edge of our seat for the entire game until we score. And then as soon as we score, we should be up, jumping around, celebrating. Instead, when we score, it's like this. We sit back in our seat and say, okay, I got 5 minutes here because VAR is gonna go back and look from the opening kickoff to make sure somebody wasn't offside.
I completely agree from that point of view, but I don't think that's why this sport isn't popular here. I'm
not saying that is, but it's just like it's something
I'm sure this is. I'm only going to bring this up because I actually watched Extra Time with Megan. We watched Porto Juventus, and I think she tweeted something. The Phantom of the Flopera. Everybody was
Phantom of the Flopera.
Yeah, everybody was just getting touched and falling, grabbing legs, grabbing faces. It was bad, and to me, I think that's how
I've heard that too.
A bad rap here, and I hate it. It was this. I was watching the game, and I was embarrassed. I was like, this is a sport that I love. I grew up playing. I love watching it, obviously, and it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to watch it. Granted, it was a phenomenal game, but you have that part of the game that the gamesmanship, they call it. It's kind of embarrassing, but
more like.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and my buddy Connor Arn77 said it earlier. My neighbor, not my neighbor, growing up we were neighbors. You get me and him and beer involved, it's bad. But anyways, what he said was refs don't make shit, make the pay substantial, and more impressive candidates will look to take the job. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I do think that's interesting because I do think that there are people who know the game really well, study the game. I don't want to say like maybe ex-players because they're you would think that ex-players would always look to be pundits and just to be in a studio, but who knows? Maybe they want to stay in shape and ref a few games, make some money. Well, I don't know what you guys think about that.
I'd answer that. I mean, I used to live in Europe, right, and travel around a lot in Europe through airports quite a lot, and then especially after all of over the last 5 to 10 years with the terrorism in the world, you see how security in airports has really upped its game, and it's always amazed me that all of the people now that work in the security part of an airport, from when you put your bags into the X-ray machine to where you have to go into the round thing and get scanned and get searched and they look in your bag, it's probably one of the most important phases of flying because that's the security aspect of it. But they seem to choose the fucking worst fucking bottom feeders they can fucking find and pay them absolutely fucking peanuts. And you look, this fucking guy's going, you can't take on that bottom of water. And you're like, for fuck, you're like, you're promoting the most dangerous aspect, but you're paying the peanuts and getting the fucking, shouldn't that be a skilled job where these people have been taken away to a place, they're fully trained, they're not paid shit peanuts an hour, they're on a contract, they can feed their families, and they take their job fucking seriously instead of just trying to collect up all of my half cans of Lynx deodorant so they can take it home and use it for themselves. And it's the same with refereeing. This should be a stable job that you're getting paid enough money that you can live on, enjoy the job that you do, but you're highly skilled, and maybe the World Cup will want to have UK and English-based referees at that event. Because I just think it's if you're the FA, how can that be sitting with you? That you're the FA, one of the oldest football associations going.
The oldest
country. Okay, the country that's supposed to be the home of football, and our referees can't even get onto the biggest stage. That's unacceptable for me.
And to be fair, I think it kind of, in a way, I almost wanted to go hand in hand with your comment earlier about how
hold on, and Brownie's just saying Stan had to change his job when airport security was upgraded. You pay peanuts, you get,
But no, that's good. I think it could kind of go hand in hand with what you said earlier, Stan, with miking the refs up. And I think if you're getting paid more, and it's a fine line you walk, right? Because you don't want the refs to be the center of attention. Because at the end of the day, they're upholding the rules, but the game is between two teams. You have the managers, you have the players in the field, two clubs. You don't want to put refs in that I don't know, the Mike Dean role, the Mark Clattenburg role, where they think the game's about them. You know, you don't want to do that, but, you know, you would hope you would get, you know, you pay him enough, you mic them up, you get them professional enough. Hopefully you just don't run to that kind of thing. I mean, to be fair, I do think the Mike Deans and the Mark Clattenburgs of the world, to be fair, I think Mark Clattenburg is actually not a bad ref, but to be fair, I think those two in particular refs are kind of just, you know, the minority. But I don't know. There's a lot that needs, to be tweaking, which by the way, Kevin Friend is our fourth official against the Scum. So
Great.
have fun with that one.
He was a VAR official on Sunday or on Saturday against Burnley.
And he was the ref in the Wolves game.
The Wolves game. Yep.
Kevin Friend is not our friend. Everybody. Just want to put that out there.
This kind of go hand in hand also with what I said earlier about incentive and you know, if teams can get relegated or promoted, why can't officials get relegated and promoted?
You know what, Tanner? I think it is what it is. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
At the end of the day, it is what it is.
It's funny too. Today, I kept track because I was at work for most of the day, and I actually played soccer. I did all these things, and I kept track of how many. I said it is what it is so much. I said it a lot, and I kept track of other people like coworkers and people I was playing with. It was said quite a lot, and I was just laughing at just the whole. I mean, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you know, the post game show. I think it was Abami tweeted about it is what it is, and Mike was right.
It was Arteta. It was a quote from Arteta that it is what it is. Arteta said it is what it is.
I thought it was Abami who said that.
I'm pretty sure it was Arteta.
Whatever.
Said,
Anyways, we were talking about that in great detail and how you know you don't want to say that and it's not good. But and my comment is I'm really sleepy. My comment is just that whenever and I said this on the post game show, whenever I'm very angry and mad, and there's certain things I just can't say, or else I'll get in trouble. Be put in timeout. I just say, you know what? It is what it is. That's usually my go-to when I'm very angry and I want to curse, scream, shout, blame everybody, say really mean things. You know, you just gotta say, oh, there's always next game. There's always tomorrow. It is what it is.
So 2 things real quick. We are gonna play quick game of Would You Rather.
I love games. Oh, Mike. Sorry, buddy.
We're going to play a quick game of Would You Rather because I saw this on
What's the rules?
You got to pick one. The rule is you have to pick one. So I saw this on Twitter. I can't remember who posted it. I saw it on Twitter. Pretty good. But would you rather, Stan, you can go first. Would you rather thump the Scum 4-0 but be eliminated by Olympiacos, or vice versa, or be thumped by the Scum, or be thumped by the Scum 4-0, but we go through against Olympiacos? No, just we go through against Olympiacos, not win Europa League. Just we lose 4-0 on Sunday to the Scum, but we beat Olympiacos. That's the other option.
Oh, you're such a bastard asking that question because in order to actually progress, and I think that one of the things that Mikel Arteta needs to do, and if you were Mikel Arteta and you've got like a little list of things you're fucking ticking off, right? You've ticked off an FA Cup. One of the things that must be on that list as an Arsenal manager is to do the Spuds, which he hasn't done yet. But that bigger picture, right? If you're going to zoom out of it, you know, progressing and trying to get to the final of the Europa League, it really is a big lifeline for us. I mean, we've just had a report, right, that we're down money. We was at 48 million or something like that. There's been some cash and stuff like that. We might not have much money, but if we do have money to spend in the summer, wouldn't it be ironic if Kroenke decides to open up, you know, go under his mattress and pull out some cash to give to us, but we're not in the Europe, and so we've got the money, but we can't attract the right kind of player. So we're having to maybe get a third choice player instead of the first or second choice that we want just because of Europe. And that does worry me. You know, big deal, man. But at the same time, getting turned over by the Spuds is painful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To get thumped by them 4-0 would just.
But if you're saying to me, I've got to pick one, you know, you've caught me while I'm fairly sober, so I'm going to say that the European one
go through against Olympiacos. Yeah. Ryan.
Sorry, I was laughing at Connor's
comment. No, I know what you're.
Me, and I did allude to this last week. Connor is one of the people with me. That's good. Me and Connor are very. We get a lot of drinks in us after an Arsenal game, and we love to play Would You Rather. So yeah,
I'm just glad that Mike didn't put Shag as one of the options.
No, that is one of the options. That's what
that is one of the options.
I mean, there's no birds in here for a start, so I'd be worried, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping everybody just says kill me. So
and to be fair, Mike, I did answer this question last week, so do not. I answered this. I'm advancing in Europa. I mean, to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. I shouldn't say no. No, it is because it's terrible because it is it's a big rivalry. It's a big game for us, and they're slowly gaining on us. And some people say they're better than us, which I mean, there's a lot of argument to be had there, But to me, we have to look long term. We have to look at what's going to help us further down the line, and shellacking the scum, I think, it's going to be great for a day or so. Well, I'm sure we'll all laugh about it for the entire season, but getting out against Olympiacos again, we can't beat them. They get again. To me, that's worse. To me, that's like by far worse. And I think what makes it even worse than that, you know who's going to be starting both legs against us? Socrates. We're gonna lose to Socrates, Socrates, whatever the Papastapalapalapalapalas. We're gonna lose to him. A guy that was playing regularly for the U23s. He was playing week in, week out for the academy. You're telling me he's gonna knock us out of Europa? Come on. To me, it's not. I'm sorry. It's the rivalry's a big deal. I get it, but no. You're crazy if you would rather get knocked out of Europa. You're absolutely crazy. I'm sorry.
So I agree 100% with both of you. The correct answer is you take the thumping from the scum and you move on, because at the end of the day, if we pound them 4-0, we go out against Olympiacos, and then let's just say, because the next league game after the scum is West Ham, let's just say we go out and lay an egg against them and lose that game, 2-1 or something. So all the hard work that we just did the week before and that high that we're on from digging in the scum's ass 4-0 from the week before now just goes out the window because we just lost to West Ham 2-1 and we just can't get a run going in the league. So the answer is when you take emotion out of the equation, the answer is you want to go through against Olympiacos. And I hate to say this, but I don't really think that was a difficult question.
And real quick to Raul's point, I know he was a sub last match. Their third center back got hurt. I don't even know who it is, but it's going to be Ba and Socrates, the only two healthy center backs for them, unless they're going to play someone else out of position just so Socrates doesn't play. I guess that's very possible. But they only have two healthy center backs. So that, again, even more embarrassing. So to me, it's not even. And again, Mike, on your show when you do this, that better not be one of the questions. I'm sure we'll do the show probably after this happens. So.
We got to move on. I have a great idea for this. Every guest on the show, Mike, has to bring one would you rather question.
You don't want that.
It has to be football related. It has to be football related.
Fuck. Well, Connor, I know you're listening. I need your help, buddy. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get a good one. Me and him are great with coming up with would you rather's.
So I know it's hard to do, and I just want to point this out. And I'm not asking for predictions. I'm not asking for guesstimates or
Kill Tanner, F Stan, and marry Ryan. Oh, that's not what you're asking? I think you said it was.
I dare say that's probably the way it would go. Actually, I think that's just about the way it would go.
Was it hard for me? Well, I guess something's hard. Anyway, so what were you saying,
Tom? I don't remember. You just totally made me lose my train of thought. No, something I was looking at earlier today. We have 12 matches left in the league. I believe 12, including Sunday against the Scum. And it's funny because 6, it might be 11. 5 are against the 5 teams above us in the table. 6 are against 6 of the 8 worst teams in the league.
I just say,
we may as well. You want to go down this road, guys?
I would just advise double bagging. That's all I'm going to say. It's safe, right? It's easier, right? Just double bag, mate.
Double bag is in over the head, or double bag is in,
probably both.
Yeah.
Well, no. In this case, I'll triple bag. A bag for you, a bag for me, and a bag for anyone, God forbid, is looking through the window.
I was going to say I would triple bag as well. Well, actually, it would have to be 5. Be 1 for me, 1 for you, and then 1 each for the dogs, so they respect me.
Oh, you have the dog. Yeah, you have the dogs too. Yeah.
So, no, I just was something.
We can have a bag on each, right, in case Mike's bag falls off. And I'm
right. Yeah. You always.
Are you saying Mike's got a big head? I love your head, Mike. It's great. I have a big head
my God, so. It's off the rails. It's off the rails, as it usually does about this time of night. So no, I was looking at what we have left here. Is we have Chelsea, the Scum, Everton, Liverpool, West Ham. Those are the 5 teams ahead of us. We have we
played Chelsea only once.
Yep. I think they're the second to last match of the season at the Bridge. But then we have Brighton, Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield, Crystal Palace, and Newcastle. Now, that's not in order, but those are the teams we have left. If this team could just be consistent, for crying out loud, there's still a chance. Even despite the Burnley result, there's still a freaking chance of qualifying for Europe through the league if we can develop any sort of consistency. I'm throwing it out there. Any comments at all on what I just said at all? It was something I was just thinking about it earlier today, and
I just don't think where the fan base or where people think we're going to get this consistency out of nowhere from. We haven't been consistent since probably the Invincibles. I mean, I'm probably a little after that, but still, that's just been us. Again, inconsistent with Wenger, inconsistent with Emery, inconsistent with Arteta. That's just our MO. I think you have to look at the players. We need better players. We need upgrades. Yeah. And I think it does come down to, I mean, it's more elaborate than this, but I think, the short answer is you have to upgrade the players first that, constantly are making mistakes week in, week out. Because that's how we lose games. We beat. That's what the commentators say every week. That's what the commentators say every time we score.
Arsenal. Nobody beats Arsenal.
We beat ourselves. We shoot ourselves in the foot all the time. So the best way to do that is to get rid of the player who, since coming into the league, has the most errors leading to a goal. I think that's a good jump. I think it's a good jumping off point. I don't know. You guys I think it's a good start. No, I mean I don't know.
Stan, anything on it at all?
I mean, my biggest worry is what it's like sometimes when they're going for a bad spell and you might have 2 or 3 players out. And you're going, once them players come back, you wait and see. Once they're back, it's all going to be okay. And then they come back and it's still not happening. I'm worried that we're going to get to the summer. We're going to get rid of the rest of the shitbag 6 that still remain at the club. That's another story from the fan circle, if you don't know who those members are. And he gets some money, he brings in some players. And then we get to October, November time, and we're seeing more of the same. Then what do you do? And Matt, that's my biggest fear. that we're going to be sitting here in October or November, because that's when I've said that I will be able to, all going well, unless something absolutely drastic happens and it's untenable, I've tried to say that I'm going to hold out on giving my full of judgment on assessment and Mikel Arteta to around October, November this year. So the summer goes, we have these players in, outs, what have you. We get these players to bed in. And my biggest worry is that we might not even make it to that point. That he's got the players, he spent some money, and we can't even get to October. And I'm at a point where I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this isn't happening, man. This is not happening. And then what happens? We get in another manager who may not be interested in maybe 60% of the players that Mikel Arteta has brought in, because, again, he may want to do it in his own image. I don't know. It worries me big time that we're going to maybe get to that point. I hope to God that we don't.
Yeah, that was. I'm glad you kind of said that, Stan, because I was going to end on this. Is there any other short of a mutiny? Is there any chance that Arteta gets sacked before the end of the season? Let me rephrase. Would you become Arteta out? Is there anything that could happen that would make you become Arteta out between now and the end of the season?
Well, the argument's always going to be, if there's really bad performances and that, the argument's always going to be, well, you know, he's still got X player in the team and this player in the team and that player in the team. So he has to really, you know, get this summer window out the way. So, you know, it doesn't look like that we're going to be in a relegation dogfight.
Yeah.
The relegation dogfight kind of puts a whole different veneer on everything. So even if we don't make Europe, I think he still has a job. I think the board will still keep him, because to get rid of him now, just on finishing 10th, 11th, or if that was the case, then they should have pulled the trigger a while back.
Yeah.
If they're going to go with it up to this point, then they're playing the long game. And then that means that he has to get the summer under his belt, a pre-season, and then go again. And then you're looking, as I say, for me, I'm looking around about October, November before I do a knee-jerk reaction and say anything. What could happen? I don't know. I mean, we get beat 6-0 by Spurs. Is he going to get sacked for that? Could something like that? You know, like with Southampton, get it done 9-0 twice in the season. That manager's still there.
Yeah.
So really, realistically, and I'd also have to say as well that, and I said this on someone's chat box recently, and I'm not disparaging Mikel Arteta. I was 50-50 when he was appointed. I'm 50-50 now. But I truly believe that one of the main reasons that he was appointed Arsenal manager was about pounds, shillings, and pence. He was appointed on something like 5 million a year when he started the job, and we know that he's taken a pay deduction because of all the stuff that happened when COVID came in. He led the way in taking a pay deduction. You only have to look across the road at Tottenham Hotspur, who still have a stadium that they're paying off. They can't get anybody into that stadium. You've got all the ancillary businesses around that stadium that help to pay the bills, which aren't doing any trade. And they've got a manager with a no-break bonus in his contract who's getting paid 30 million a season. You see the difference? So when you were looking at when Emery went and you were talking about who we're going to bring in and some of the names going about, that's the difference. We've got a manager now that earns less than £5 million a year compared to Jose Mourinho, who was a big shout for a big section of our fan base, who's on an ironclad contract that suits him all the way down to the end. He's on 30 million a year.
Yeah. And he's going to get every last penny of that. So, Ryan, I'll ask you the same question. Anything for you that would make you Arteta out before the end of the season?
Yeah, I guess. You said short of a mutiny, so no, I don't think so. I think there's a significant. I know people don't agree with me. A lot of people don't agree with me. I think there's a significant change in the squad. I think defensively we're so much better. We've been shit defensively since probably even before. Well, not before Wenger, but during Wenger.
No, I mean it's the last 3-4 years of his tenure.
Yeah,
as manager, we were.
I think and when you talk about That's a good one, Mike. If we hire Pierce Morgan, you'll be our tit out. That's fair. That's fair.
Mike, stop it.
I'll agree with that. But no, I mean, I think you know, we know this. Midfield, we need an upgrade. We know this. You know, defensively, we're getting better. Offensively, you know, we know this has been a thing. Burnley, this wasn't the first sighting of us not being able to finish our dinner. Yeah, it's been a thing. You can't blame Arteta for that. You know, Pepe missed a sitter. Aubameyang missed a couple easy ones. Lacazette missed it. Lacazette hasn't had a shot on goal since, besides penalties. Besides penalty kicks, Lacazette hasn't had a shot on goal, and I wish I could look this up because I actually I wish I could read this, but it's shocking how long he hasn't had a shot on goal for. So I mean, he hasn't played in a certain amount of games, but they gave like minutes. I forget how long, but what did also Ryan? If we don't attack, we will be good defensively. I don't agree with that. You could be really bad defensively if you don't attack. But I see where you're coming from, I guess. But no, I think we are attacking. We're just not putting the chances away. Hopefully, if we can get, I've been tuning this horn. I'm going to keep tuning it, and I guess it goes to the Xhaka thing, and it goes to McStar. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to put
McStar.
But I agree. I think if Xhaka is a part of the team, maybe that might be right. I think if Xhaka is a part of the team, like a few games into the season, and we don't have like a midfielder that could take a spot, then yeah, probably then. But again, you said into the season, so that's what I'm going to say. But I just think that I think it just starts with the upgrade, and it starts with these players kind of, you know, coming into form, finishing their dinner. And there's one thing I will say before I give the floor to Stan, which I kind of wanted to go in with Rohan about, but I know he had to leave and all that. I think Pepe's playing really well, and I don't think we should sell Pepe. I think we need to kind of hold on to him because he's that maverick. He's that chaos we need. And if I do think we should start him in more games than not. But if Arteta doesn't fancy him for whatever reason, if he's willing to accept the role of maybe having a lesser role, especially a lesser role after being paid $72 million, I think he could do great for us. And I think he's someone that we could rely on, but not need to rely on so much because of, you know, said price tag. But I don't know. Yeah, I totally think that we just, as Coach Jade Soccer said, sometimes we just need the ball to bounce our way. Didn't bounce our way against Burnley. Yeah. It happens.
So I can't remember his last name. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. I'm just
Samuel Reed.
Samuel Reed asked us what our starting 11 would be on Thursday. I'm going to ask that question a different way. Do me a favor. We're at 1 hour and 47 minutes, so give me names. Try not to give me explanations, just names. Keep it quick. But I want the best 11 because I would assume at this point. Everybody healthy. Let's assume everybody healthy. I would assume at this point that you're playing your best 11 on Thursday. It's a trophy, and right now it's our best chance for a European qualification.
Are we talking within the sort of formation that Mikel puts out as well?
So let's call it a 4-2-3-1, which seems to be what he's preferring to play. So I'll tell you what, we'll move it along this way. Goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. Anybody disagree with that? Anybody starting Matt Ryan on Thursday?
Is Ronison healthy? I know he hurt his knee.
Oh my God! I totally. How could I forget? Right back for me. It's Cedric.
I mean, unless you guys heard otherwise, because I wanted to ask you, and we didn't talk about it. I know Tony in the chat brought it up. Cedric was fine, right? He was rested. He didn't make the bench. I don't know. He wasn't hurt or anything.
Didn't hear a thing.
Yeah, so I think that's why. But
that's the best 11. Everybody healthy. So right back, Cedric.
Yeah.
And Ryan, you can't say Ainsley Maitland-Niles, right?
Right. If they're playing for another team, you can't say them.
Damn it! I was gonna say Debuchy, but all right, fuck you.
As the GFP used to say.
Yeah.
Who are you going with? Who are you going with, Ryan? Cedric or Bellerin?
Oh, Cedric.
Sorry,
Stan.
I mean, whoever you want to put
To me,
there.
it's not even a question. You go with Cedric here.
Yeah.
I think I would as well. I think I'd like to see Cedric in a game of importance to see how he rises to the occasion, right?
Yeah. Give me your center back pairing. I want a center back pairing. It's going to sound crazy, but I'm going right now. I mean, and this is right now. It's right now. So for me, it's Holding and Pablo Marie.
Yeah,
I know David Luiz has not been terrible.
No,
recently. But
I was considering replacing Gabrielle with Holding, but I think you go Holding.
I think this is the thing. You're talking about inconsistencies and you're talking about stats of Luis not being dribbled past the most and all of that. But in a game of such importance, do you put him in or do you think I can't go for the heart attack treatment of this being the game where he fucking goes mental for 5 minutes? So yeah, I'm going to go with Pablo Marie and Rob Holding.
Left back. I mean, come on. Do we even need? Yes, we're going to say it. Kieran Tierney. There's done.
So you can't play both. All right.
Yeah. Runnerson again. Here is he healthy?
Hey, Jacques has played left back before. Just saying.
So I guess give me a midfield. Well, give me the two. Give me the two. Thomas Partey, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest.
I'm putting in El Neni. I'm just going to go with El Neni.
I'm putting in El Neni because he's a safe option. I know what I'm going to get out of him. It's going to put more pressure on Thomas Partey. But if he needs to live up to the pedigree that he came in here with, for me. So you know what?
It sucks because I want to put Chambers, but I don't know what I
haven't seen him. I'm not.
That's why I agree. I really want Chambers, but he's an unknown quantity right now, so I can't say. I'm actually going to say Ceballos, surprisingly.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go the three. Let's move up to the three. In any. I mean, I think we know which side they're going to be on. Bukayo Saka's on the right. Any disagreement there?
Yes, I think there is. I think it depends who's playing center forward. For me, the 10 is ESR. If he's healthy, obviously. If he's healthy, it's ESR 100%, bar none. I think the three. I think the three for me is where everything gets tricky because to me, you have Lacazette, you play Saka on the right, you play Pepe on the left, you play Aubameyang. I don't know. You might want to switch it. You might want Saka on the left, Pepe on the right. I don't like that. That's why part of me kind of wants to do like Saka and I don't want to play Willian. I don't even know.
I'm going way off the board here. Well, not way off the board. I'm going with a combination that I don't think we've actually seen. I'm going ESR behind Aubameyang with Saka on the right. And I'm going to throw Pepe on the left.
But yeah,
I don't think we've seen that. I don't think we've seen that.
I think if you look at it positionally, like, okay, who's our best left wing? Who's our best 10? Who's our best right? Who's our best center forward? I 100% agree with you. But if we're talking about a well-oiled machine, if we want the best 11 well-oiled machine, you can't do that. Pepe and Saka are going to occupy the same spaces. I don't think it's gonna bode well for us. I still think with that 11, we still beat Olympiacos or we put in a good show. But I don't know. Playing Aubameyang in the center and Pepe on the left is just. I think we need it. I think we have actually, but I think we kind of need to solve that Rubik's cube a little bit because they occupy similar spaces, and I think that's just. I don't know.
So then you go. So the only other option you go with is Aubameyang out left and Lacazette through the middle. No, I don't know what other combination.
I'm not playing Aubameyang. To me, center forward, it's got to be Aubameyang or Lacazette. For me, this is just how I feel. And then, I think you got to play Saka Pep. I mean, who do we? I'm definitely missing some. Right, we have who on the bench? We have Martinelli. We have Willian. Is there somebody else? Not Reece Nelson. He's not going to be on the bench.
Emil Smith Rowe.
Well, I have him in the
him
middle.
as the 10.
Unless you want to put Odegaard on the right, but I don't want to do that. But
I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
Well, Stan, what do you think?
Yeah.
I think I'd rather just keep Aubameyang playing at the 9. It's that 3 behind him that I'm having a problem with.
Yeah.
I think Saka, you can play him on the right and the left, you're going to get a good game out of him. But if you play him on the right, the thing that I'm having trouble with is there's a part of me that wants to put Martinelli on the left. This is a kid that says that he favours that position than playing through the middle.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about him that I think is quite maverick, and from the midfield has a capacity to chip in with goals and assists, maybe from that left side. But then I don't know whether there's a part of me that wants to go with Emil Smith Rowe and Odegaard playing in the same team, which I've seen before because I like that. But then someone's got to miss out, you know. Yeah. So that middle 3, I can come up with maybe 2-3 combinations. And I think that if I was Mikel Arteta, it would be that 3 of the team that's going to be keeping me up at night to try and find the best combination. I know I've got ideas what I want to do. I don't think Mikel Arteta is bold enough to throw Martinelli a starting lineup in this game. I mean, he can't come on as a substitute. He's not even coming on at 80 minutes. Why is he going to start him? But you asked me what I would do, and it's so. I think my starting lineup would have to have Odegaard and ESR in there, and then the other one would have to be Saka. And then I've got Pepe and Martinelli on the bench as backup. If that's somewhere that's not working out, I can move things around. But I like the look of ESR and Odegaard starting in the same lineup. If we say that we've been lacking creativity, they're 2 of the most creative players in the squad at the minute. So we've got to play them together, right? And give Aubameyang as much ammunition as we can.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but I think my final answer is going to be ESR and the 10. You have Pepe I'm going to do Pepe on the left, Saka on the right, and Aubameyang up
so you're
top.
agreeing with me on that.
Yeah, I don't like Pepe on the left and Aubameyang playing center forward, but I think like the pitch is really big. Figure it out. That's it. Figure it out. Like, don't occupy the same space. This
is the one thing.
Both exceed.
That's the one thing with ESR. I think he loses something playing him out wide. I think he'll lose something from a
tactic, right?
It is.
I'm one of those guys that's always complained about Wenger shoehorning players in, but how do you get them both on the pitch at the same time? And I find it difficult to choose between Odegaard and ESR. ESR's one of our own is coming up through the academy, and even though Martin Odegaard hasn't directly assisted with a goal or scored a goal, you can't tell me that you're not liking what he's doing, how he gets into space, how he calls.
I love what he's doing. I love what he's doing.
And if there is I hate that the pre-assist, but if there is such a thing as pre-assists, he's done one. That one where he moved the ball out to Willian to the side, and it came back in, and there was that goal with Aubameyang. Perfect. So I am seeing something with Odegaard that I really like. But I agree with what the last thing that you just put up there about putting him on the right, because I want them both in the same team, but at the same token, I hate that shoehorning.
Yeah,
putting square pegs into round holes. I've always complained about that.
Why don't we put Odegaard on the right? He's played on the right before.
I mean,
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I want to again. It sucks because I always talk about like how like I hate when we experiment. We just need to find positions for these players. But like someone like Chambers and even Odegaard, I don't think ESR is that bad out wide. I just think he's so good in the middle. I think that's what I mean. He's just brilliant. He's just his football IQ is through the roof.
Let me put it this way: putting ESR out wide is like making Thomas Partey a defensive midfielder. You're limiting his talent. You're restraining his talent.
Yeah, you nullify
something. I agree, Ryan. I agree 100% with what you just said. He's just I'm not saying he's bad out wide.
No.
What you just said, he's just better through the middle.
And I'm sure Stan will disagree with me in the chat will too. I also think in the middle, I think ESR is better for us, and I think he's a better player than Odegaard now.
I think
I'm not saying it can change.
But I think that goes with the chemistry that he has with Bukayo Saka too.
No,
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
That's why I said it could definitely change for sure.
We're at an hour and 59 minutes here, fellas. Ryan, final word.
I hope we play well on Thursday. I hope we. I don't expect this consistency or inconsistency to change anytime soon. But I'm strapped in. I'm along for the ride, and I just want to advance in Europa. I'm very pessimistic and nervous about our game Sunday. But I'll be at work, so I won't have to worry about it, and I don't have to think about it. Yeah, I'll be checking my phone every 5 seconds. But
wait, Thursday?
No, I'm transitioning to Sunday. Sunday, yeah. So I won't have to worry about that. But yeah, I want to advance, and hopefully. Don't worry, Mike. I'm crossing my fingers. We get the young boys in the next round.
Oh, Jesus. Stan, final word?
Yeah, my final word is going to be to Kato in the chat box. He says, Odegaard, a poor man Ozil. Let's be honest, Stan. And I'm just, I don't know if you've been looking. I don't know if you've been looking at Ozil setting it alight over there in the Super League in Turkey. But he's had 6 or 7 games, no goals, no assists, and
let's be nice. I think he broke his ankle.
Stretched off in the last game. So
he tore a bunch of ligaments in his ankle. He's done for.
He's doing nothing in the Turkish league. He's not doing bits or nothing. Odegaard, I think that there's going to be more to come from this guy. I like what I'm seeing. I know that if I could only keep one from Real Madrid of our 2 loanees, it would be Odegaard over somebody else. And Odegaard has played a fraction of the games for Arsenal.
I agree.
The BIOS has, and I've already made my decision.
You want to shout out the chat?
Yeah, man. Everyone that joined us tonight, Mike from the Gooners podcast, Football with Brownie, our main man Tony Turner, Samuel Reed, Coach 8 Soccer, Gary, Don't Waste the Tweet, doing an excellent job moderating as usual. I hope I've not missed anyone there. Rahul Tawana Thongola, that's a new one in there as his stylistic fight.
Yep.
Rahul M has come back to see us. Listen, if you're listening to us on the replay and if you come by, all I ask is don't freeload. Just click a like button on your way out. It just helps us raise the profile of the channel. And you know what? Even if you don't like what we're doing, leave a thumbs down because YouTube looks at interactions. It's about interacting. If you don't like it, put a thumbs down. It still helps us out. So,
it does. It does. Absolutely. Real quick, once again, want to shout out Tony. Our deepest sympathies to you once again, friend. We love you, man. We're thinking of you. And please, everybody, check out the link in the description for Tony's GoFundMe. Let's give him a bit of good news. And please, on your way out, everybody,
let's give Tony a leg up.
Yes, for sure. Everybody in the chat, have a good word for Tony on your way out the door, please. Would really appreciate that. Thanks to Gary. Don't waste the tweet as always for moderating for us. Like Stan said, great job. What's coming up on my channel? The tailgate before the match on Thursday, as we do every game, followed by the aftermath after the full-time whistle. We will break down everything from Olympiacos v Arsenal. If you're watching on my channel, which I don't think many are at this point, but if you are and you're not already subscribed, please go drop a subscription over on my channel. I greatly appreciate it. That is all we've got for you. My thanks always to the 2 gentlemen sitting here with me. Good stuff tonight, fellas. Really appreciate you guys. Rowan, great to have him back. The band is back together. It's been a hectic few weeks for us here. Little thin Lizzie on our way out the door. So as always, folks, it has been good footy talk. We'll see you out there.